1972, a year of rebellion, reflection, and reinvention. It was the sound of youth breaking loose, of dreamers turning poetry into melody, of voices that still echo through time. From stadium-shaking riffs to cosmic ballads, these songs became more than hits. They became memories. So let's rewind and count down 10 unforgettable rock songs from 1972. Songs that still live in the bones long after the needle lifts. Built around a sweeping melody and a rising sense of anticipation, Starman combined the sparkle of glam with the storytelling. Jumpsuit and draping his arm over guitarist Mick Ronson, Bowie wasn't just playing a character, he was building a Rocket Man by Elton John.
My bags last night, free flight.
It drifts in quietly, a few soft piano chords, a lonely voice.
I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife.
And then it launches.
I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Touchdown brings me round again.
Released in April 1972, Rocket Man wasn't just another space-themed track, it was a melancholy anthem disguised in cosmic metaphor. A story of isolation, duty, and the cost of chasing something greater than yourself.
Rocket Man burning out his fuse up here alone.
Elton John and lyricist Bernie Taupin crafted a song that felt both grand and intimate. Inspired in part by Ray Bradbury's short story, The Rocket Man, and riding the same cultural wave as Bowie's Ziggy Stardust, this wasn't about fantasy. It was about the ache of being far from home.
This ain't the kind of place to raise your kids.
Recorded at Trident Studios in London, the track was shaped by Gus Dudgeon's lush production, blending atmospheric synths, Davy Johnston's subtle slide guitar, and Elton's aching vocals into something that still feels timeless.
And all the science I don't understand.
Rocket Man reached the top 10 in both the UK and US, and it quietly became one of Elton John's most enduring classics.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time.
Number 3, Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Before it became one of the most played riffs in rock history, Smoke on the Water was simply a first-hand account of chaos.
The burning down of the casino the night we were there watching the show. And all the other...
In December 1971, Deep Purple had traveled to Montreux, Switzerland to record their next album at the casino beside Lake Geneva. But the night before their session, everything changed. During a Frank Zappa concert, a fan in the crowd fired a flare gun at the ceiling. And within minutes, the entire building was in flames. The band watched the fire from across the lake, stunned. In the smoke and destruction, a phrase stuck in Roger Glover's mind: smoke on the water. The next day, they began turning that moment into music, transforming panic into power. Built on a stripped-down riff from Ritchie Blackmore, the song captures the gritty essence of early 70s hard rock, heavy, unfiltered, and loaded with story. Ian Gillan recounts the event with a dry observational tone, while John Lord's swirling organ and Ian Pace's drums add urgency to every line. It wasn't meant to be a single, but when it finally dropped in 1973, it became a global anthem. More than a song, it was a snapshot of real rock history burned into memory forever. Number 4, Take It Easy by Eagles. Sometimes the right song arrives like a breeze through an open window, and in 1972, Take It Easy did just that.
We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here.
This was the Eagles' debut single, and it didn't just introduce a band, it introduced a whole new sound.
Take it easy, take it easy.
Co-written by Jackson Browne and Glenn Frey, The song blended California sunshine with desert road restlessness, drawing from country, rock, and folk in equal measure.
So open up, I'm climbing in to take it easy.
The opening line was already Brown's idea.
Well, I'm running down a road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women.
But he was stuck on the next verse. Frey, his upstairs neighbor in Echo Park, threw in the line, "It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford." And with that, a classic was born.
It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford. Slow it down and take a look.
Recorded at Olympic Studios in London with producer Glyn Johns, the track was built on tight harmonies, laid-back guitar licks, and that effortless blend of ease and longing.
Well, come on, baby, don't say maybe.
Bernie Leadon's banjo adds a layer of country charm, while Don Henley's steady backbeat grounds the whole thing in dusty asphalt. It only reached number 12 on the charts, but its legacy far outlasted its peak. Take It Easy became more than a hit. It became a mood, a map, a way of life. Number 5, School's Out by Alice Cooper. In the summer of '72, Alice Cooper captured a teenage thrill that generations would carry like a badge, the rush of knowing you're finally free. It wasn't written in a boardroom or crafted for radio. It was sparked by a single question: what's the greatest 3 minutes of your life? For Cooper, the answer was immediate. The final bell of the school year, when doors swing open and everything feels possible. With producer Bob Ezrin pushing the band toward bigger ideas, they layered the song with pounding riffs, theatrical flair, and a group of kids shouting like they'd just escaped. That sound wasn't manufactured. It was recorded with a local class from a nearby school in New York. The track soared up the charts, reaching number 1 in the UK and becoming Alice Cooper's breakthrough in America. But its real power came from how quickly it embedded itself into culture. For decades, it's echoed through graduation parties, summer movies, and those first sun-drenched drives with windows down and zero plans. Before we dive into the second half of the list, which 1972 rock song still hits you the hardest? And where were you when you first heard it? Tell us in the comments. We're reading all of them. Number 6, Heart of Gold by Neil Young. In early 1972, Neil Young found himself in Nashville, working through pain, both physical and emotional, and channeling it all into one of the most honest songs of his career.
It's these expressions I never give.
With a sore back that limited his electric playing, he picked up an acoustic guitar instead and leaned into what came naturally: quiet reflection. The result was Heart of Gold.
Keep me searching for a heart of gold.
Recorded in a few focused sessions with help from Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor, whose voices added just the right warmth. The track doesn't try to impress. It just speaks with harmonica, steady rhythm, and lyrics that feel like pages torn from a private journal. When Young sings, "I've been a miner for a heart of gold," it feels like a weary confession, not a performance.
I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
The song topped charts in both the US and Canada and became the defining moment of his Harvest album.
I've been in my mind, it's such a fine line.
But more than a hit, it became a mirror, a song that quietly asked listeners what they were searching for and if they'd ever found it.
Heart of gold, and I'm getting old.
Number 7, Tumbling Dice by the Rolling Stones. By 1972, the Rolling Stones had nothing to prove, but somehow they still sounded like a band with everything on the line. This track was the lead single from Exile on Main Street, a sprawling double album recorded in a humid, makeshift basement studio in the south of France. The band had fled England for tax reasons and set up shop in Villanelco, where chaos and creativity bled into each other daily. It started as a slow, bluesy jam called Good Time Women, but it evolved into something much sharper. Mick Jagger reshaped the lyrics into a loose, gambling metaphor, full of swagger and resignation. With its gospel-backing vocals and layered guitars, the song doesn't push, it glides, confident in its imperfection, and that's exactly what made it feel alive. Tumbling Dice peaked at number 7 in the UK and became a staple of the Stones' live shows for decades. It's not their loudest track or their most famous, but for many fans, it's the one that best captures their ragged, untouchable cool. Number 8, All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople. The band was ready to break up, frustrated, burned out, and almost entirely overlooked. But Bowie, a fan of their raw sound, convinced them to stay together and offered a song he had just written. That song was All the Young Dudes. Recorded in the summer of 1972, it became an anthem for an entire generation. Ian Hunter's world-weary voice leading the way, the track delivered a message that felt both defiant and hopeful. A glam rock call to arms for kids on the outside looking in. Bowie produced the track himself, guiding the band through a layered arrangement full of soaring choruses, spoken lines, and that instantly recognizable opening guitar riff. The lyrics name-check T-Rex and other glam icons, but underneath the glitter, there's something deeper: loneliness, rebellion, and the need to feel seen. The track reached number 3 in the UK and gave Mott the Hoople their first real taste of success. But more importantly, it gave voice to the lost, the loud, and the looking for something better. Number 9, Hold Your Head Up by Argent. They didn't chase trends. They carved out their own lane with a sound that blended rock, soul, and progressive ambition. Formed by Rod Argent after the breakup of the Zombies, the band hit their stride in 1972 with Hold Your Head Up. A track that managed to feel both defiant and uplifting at the same time. From the opening bass line, it builds with quiet intensity. And then hits with that unforgettable chorus that dares you not to sing along. Rod Argent's swirling organ solo stretches nearly 2 minutes, weaving through shifting tempos and subtle flourishes. A rare moment where a keyboard becomes the centerpiece in a rock anthem. Yet despite its complexity, the song never loses its message: strength, pride, and resilience in the face of doubt. Released on their album All Together Now, the single climbed to number 5 and became their biggest hit. But for many fans, it's more than a chart success. It's a reminder to stand tall when the world tries to wear you down. Number 10. Listen to the Music by the Doobie Brothers. In a year filled with unrest and uncertainty, the Doobie Brothers offered a reminder of what still brought people together: rhythm, melody, and a shared sense of joy. Released in 1972, Listen to the Music was the band's breakthrough. The track appeared on the album Toulouse Street and became the band's first major hit. It climbed to number 11 on the US charts and set the tone for the Doobies' laid-back West Coast sound that would define them for years. Because sometimes the best thing you can do is exactly what the title says.